But how cold is it? We
It's a
talking
rock.
frost giant cold?
It's rock cold. You know,
It's
that's how
rock
it
cold?
is. Let's
I
see
would
what other
listen to
cool
hot
rocks
rock.
have I got over here.
I listen to a rock that's like setting shit on fire. Un fuego.
No, when I worked in a jewelry store, if you wanted to prove to people that stuff was made of jade, then you'd have them touch it, pull away, touch it again, because it didn't really hold heat, so it would always feel
Right.
cold.
Sweet.
Ooh.
You can't see all the little. It's got little protrusions on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got, you can do it. Nope. You're gonna focus on me. Focus on it.
No,
Look
I will
deep
not.
into the rock.
Look into the rock.
No,
Welcome
it's a
to the
scary rock. I don't want to look into your rock. And I don't want to see that dragon's egg running around either.
But what about this rock?
That is the
James-
weirdest bocce ball ever.
Inquiring minds want to know, Terry, is that a cat turd?
Petrified cat turd from the Pliocene era.
What? Oh my goodness.
You want to know why I have trouble with my rocks being knocked over? Look over there. That's my rock shelf. That's Pollux. Get out of there, boy.
Wait, you were just telling Paul that Pollux needed to tell Rogue how to behave.
Well, I didn't say that he was going to tell him how to behave in the right way.
Oh, I see. Well, Rogue already behaves in all the wrong ways. So exactly what was Pollux supposed to teach him?
How to behave wrong better.
Caroline's a good girl.
I don't know about this. I don't know about any of this.
Okay, right now she is. Right now, and I think it's because her human came home for the weekend, and now he is out. And so I'm the only human that anybody really wants to deal with. But
Rick wants to know if you went to the School of Rock, Terry.
Yes, I did.
Lies. Actually, no, I believe it. He's prehistoric, so he probably was there when they first began the wheel.
yeah.
No comment, huh?
He's talking to the Flintstones rock
No.
wheel. So, yeah.
My first thought is I want to go to YouTube and find all of the appropriate videos, or I can go find the musical and all of the appropriate videos. But yes, Xander.
Xander says, my teacher was this weird dude that impersonated a teacher and took us to a band competition to boost their own ego. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Thanks for that.
Yes, with all wisdom given from AC/DC and other associated lyrics.
You know, it would be really fun if one picked a rock band and went through their lyrics and went ahead and selected certain ones that they could make into religious sayings to make the church of this rock band.
I could do that with Rush.
Just think of all this is the commandments of Rush. Poof, and you
I'm
just drop out
pretty sure that with Rush, someone has already done that.
Done it, probably.
I'm pretty sure that somebody's done it with Ozzy. I'm pretty sure that somebody's done it with Metallica. Yeah.
Have we heard of dudism?
We have indeed heard of
We
Buddhism.
have indeed.
They have.
In fact, we call Shadow the little guy or little man, and we just call Rogue when he's behaving the dude. So if you don't see Rogue, it's the dude abides somewhere. So on that note, howdy folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society. I am Paul E. Cooley. Joining me as always, Veronica Jaguar and Terry Mixon. How the hell are you two? And yes, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Great song. V, what do you know?
Not a lot. Although that's probably my kid's assessment rather than my own. It's, teenagers. But no, just been recording and reading contracts and a little bit of writing and a lot of narrator association volunteer stuff that takes up a lot of time. But yeah, been I finally finished more stuff so I can add things to my book tracking blanket. So this is Golden Age science fiction, Golden Age erotica.
All right. Now, I think I need to know more about this.
What was it called? Rockets, Rapiers, and Romance. That was the title of it.
Because who doesn't want more erotica in their Golden Age science fiction? And when I say that, I am utterly being serious.
I mean, so once I get the go ahead from the folks in charge, I'll be able to say more about it. But yeah.
Oh my God, Buck Roger Wilma.
Well, if you don't think that Buck Roger Wilma, then you are totally not thinking this through.
But however, so
flesh.
You're wrong. So Mia agrees with me. She's like, "Oh, that is weird. I cannot do this. Why? Why do you say these things, Dad?" So yeah, there's that, and then I finally finished the sci-fi alien romance. Probably was the first time I got to narrate enough stuff like in French. Like I actually got to use like my spoken French stuff, which was great. And then what's next? Oh yeah, and then the current thing is the nuns and tanks and the apocalypse.
Well, actually, I think I saw a book about nuns and tanks in the apocalypse, but I can't remember the title now. But I did see the cover of that GoFly. My most recent audiobook purchases, I decided that I didn't have enough, spice in my life, so I went out looking for 5 books that I could drop my credits on. That would be lit RPG, harem romance. So I could
men's fantasy.
Men's fantasy. But yep. If you search for men's fantasy, you can't actually find some of the gems that are hiding out there. So you got to be a little creative with the searching on there to see what you get. And once you find one that matches, you can look at the also boughts that go along with it and get an idea of ones that fit. I found another couple of. Usually, it's narrated by a lot of the ones that I've read over the last however long were were narrated by Jessica Threet and something Boucher. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I found some by a different set of male and female authors or narrators. They're not quite as good, and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing if I'm going to get adjust to this or not.
So I know I narrated 3 that fall into that category, but 2 of them are, I guess they're the equivalent of what you would call closed door, because nothing ever explicitly happens. But boy, all of the ingredients are there for something to happen. And then another one, it was the 8th book in the series. American Dragons is the series. I took it over from another narrator, and then they recast again because it went from a male narrator for the first 7 books to me, and they're like, "Oh shit, not this bitch." Those are the reviews. Those are the reviews, and there's more to it there. But the author liked it, and for me, that's always what matters. But the recasting did not go well. But I mean, I think it's fun to narrate. But
Christopher Boucher, Boucher, and Jessica Threet are the 2 that I was thinking of. They seem to do a fair chunk of the ones that at least I've chanced across. But it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if they're published by the same publisher, they'll stick to the same handful of people. So, but yeah. And for all of the, there was a bunch of French in the chat. Mm-hmm. And oui, je parle français assez bien. J'écoute le mieux. Essentially, I can speak it okay. I read it well. I have to think about it a bit, but I can, like, my treat is to listen to hockey broadcasts in French.
All
Because
right.
it's a context thing. If you ever want to pick up a language and you're like on the precipice of kind of learning stuff, the two things are pick a sport that you love or some kind of thing and watch and listen to the play-by-play, because you're going to get a conversational tone and you're going to understand the gist of what's going on the field or in the rink or whatever. And you'll understand more than you think you will. And then the other thing is find a movie that you like, that you're super familiar with. And if you can get it on your movie streaming, just set the audio to another language. Don't use the subtitles though, because it'll throw you off because it doesn't always line up. And often the subtitled stuff in a language is different than what's actually spoken.
Yeah.
But yeah. And Rick, that's like listening to soccer broadcasts, and yes, it's marvelous. And even if you used to be familiar with the language, and then you've stepped away from it for a while, and you go back, like my daughter now understands more of the French when watching the games in French than I know she used to. And all of my kids can understand me when I kind of babble at them. So yeah. James, so much to say on the subject. Yeah, I love languages. I'm a language nerd. And some things I pick up. Sometimes I'll learn parts of a language only because my accent sucks in it, and I'm just trying to learn how to like get the words right with the accent, so I can go from there.
So it's what you're saying is you're kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Huh?
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a big star here in the English-speaking world.
Right.
But when he speaks German, when he goes back home, he has a really, really terrible hick accent.
Oh.
So he can't get any respect for his German speaking at all.
So fun fact, my in-laws and the flavor of Quebecois that my husband grew up learning is the rural redneck equivalent
Yes.
of
Hillbillies.
French. Yeah. And it's that small town, rural farming, sawmill kind of thing. And it's just how certain words are pronounced. And it twangs. You can hear the twang. You can see the twang and like how muscles are there.
Yes,
But,
Arnold,
yeah.
Rick Protler is right that he is from Austria, not Germany, but it is German that he speaks. So I was correct in that angle. I said when he went home. I didn't mean that he went home to Germany.
So yeah. So that's been my week. So
Terry, what do you know?
I don't know.
Apparently, I know about Arnold and his accent.
Do you know Tile? I think you know Tile.
I know more about Tile than I think that I would care to know. Well, so let's see. What have I been doing? I have been doing lots of dealing with the renovation downstairs in the bathroom, which even when you're hands off on that, it still takes up far more of your time and attention than you really want it to. And while they're almost done, they should finish up with most of the work on the downstairs bathroom by late next week. They laid the wrong tile on the floor this week.
You mean you didn't want the pearlescent pink with white flowers all over?
It was they really tried to make the sale on that one, but it didn't fly. They
Imagine why.
But you seem like, such a, Barbie pink daisy kind of guy. Why didn't you go for it?
well, it is a Barbie world.
It is.
Actually,
Not
what they
my
put
world.
down was more like a sandstone, and what we were supposed to get was kind of a charcoal gray. Same product, same feel, same texture, just a different color. So they had to carefully chip it up so as not to damage the bed of cement that they laid underneath it, which would have been a huge pain in the ass for them. But they successfully did so and now have laid the appropriate stuff. The guy is downstairs right now putting the grout in. So he should be finished. The tiles should be finished today.
Cool.
Next week starts the second coat of float on the walls, the painting, and then the installation of all kinds of things like sinks, granite countertops, toilets, all of that nonsense.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, all of that's going to be fun. Once the toilet is in place, they can measure to see how much of a door they can get, because they want to give my wife the biggest door in that small bathroom that they can manage to make it as close to ADA compliant as they can. It's impossible with that small of a bathroom to make it completely ADA compliant, but they're edging as close as they can get with the space that they have. And they're doing a fabulous job of it. But it'll take a week once they do the measurement to get the glass in and actually install that. So it's a good thing that we're going to, LA Fitness to take our showers. Because they're going to come upstairs. They're going to come upstairs and tear up the upstairs before they are completely done with the downstairs. But since the bathtub upstairs was what was linking, we haven't been using it. So we've been getting our bathing done elsewhere. The door will open outward.
Yeah.
But it can't impact the toilet. So to make that door open outward as far as it can, they have to know exactly where the rim of that toilet is going to be.
Gotcha. Well, apart from the house crap, what else you been up to?
I finished the first draft on the novel that I'm working on. They changed the title on me of both the book and the series, which was good because they initially changed what I had in mind. I was originally going to name it after the ship and call it the Golden Rule. And they said, no, that doesn't really work. And so his suggestion for a title was Star Relic. And I was like, I don't know, that's not really biting me. It sounds kind of cartoony a little bit. I'm not so sure that I'm a fan of that.
Star Relic. Yeah.
I wasn't feeling it. So we talked about it some more and settled on the Forgotten Ship.
Okay. For the series?
For both the first book and the series.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get him to convince. I tried to convince him to let me name it Backyard something, Backyard Relic or something like that, and then I could just get right under Terry Maggart's skin. But he didn't go for that. But he's still going to go ahead and tell Terry Maggart that's what they decided on.
Oh no!
Just to go ahead and get him rolling.
just to tweak him.
Just to tweak him a little bit.
So you finished the first draft, and you're surviving. You're surviving the house.
James, we're talking about the shower door, the glass shower door that they have to measure so they can get it as large as possible.
They can't do a sliding one?
There we go.
Side yard Star Relic.
There we go. That's what it should be right there. Yeah, not the door to the bathroom, James.
Right.
And it's not going to be a sliding door. It's going to be an open outdoor.
It's probably not enough room for a sliding door.
Yeah.
Seems like there would be enough room for a sliding door, but those tend to leak, he said.
Interesting.
Okay.
I don't know. The guy that's doing the work, the general contractor that's doing the work, is someone that we have used for general contract labor at our home here almost since we moved in 25 years ago. So we've been dealing with him for smaller projects on and off. They did the roof. His brother did his brother is a contractor that does roofs and fencing. So the new fence is his brother did that.
Okay.
But they are somebody that we trust because he's known us a very long time and he's going to make sure that it gets done right. So if he says it's better the way it is, I'm going to go ahead and listen to him because he knows what he's talking about. That man knows what he's talking about.
That's rare. Is that all you got?
I was talking about I'm doing the final read-through, so I will finish the halfway point of read-through after the show, and I will send the first half of the book off to the editor because they want to get it to Jeffrey Kafer as soon as possible. So rather than make them wait 4 extra days for me to finish the book, she can start editing the first half and then deal with the second half when it arrives in, because they'll need to wrap it up probably by the 7th of next month with the beta readers and get it off to him, because they're aiming for a release of simultaneously both the audio and the book itself. Sometime in April,
always
I
aim
think.
for that. It
Mid-April,
never
I think,
happens.
is when it's coming out.
Mid-April?
Well, I'm not going to complain with them wanting to go ahead and do that. I've never had a simultaneous release before. I look forward to seeing how that works out.
Yeah, I think that the few books I've done for Kafer's production company, High Gravity, I think they've actually worked it so they are almost simultaneous releases, and that's nice, because then the authors promote. Well, the authors promoting stuff, they promote stuff. I get stuff I can use to promote, and it's nice. I'm seeing the effects of that right now for my pseudo, for a book that came out. Oh, if you want to spend 3 times as much.
If you possibly can, because one of the walls is load bearing and the other is the stairs.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot make the bathroom any larger.
Yeah. Sometimes even with large bathrooms, you're limited in how you can reconfigure things.
If I ever, become Stephen King level of earnings, here, maybe I'll go ahead and build my own house with this Mondo bathroom.
I was going to say, don't even bother fixing that one up. What the hell's wrong with you? If you have that kind of money, go buy a new house.
If I have that really in the house, that's, one level, 10,000 square feet with God only knows what in it. God only knows.
Why would you need 10,000 square feet?
So he
My
used
God.
5,000 square feet of it to create a catio that's like multiple levels.
She knows what she's talking about.
Oh, Jesus. She has 60 cats now.
60.
And
60.
they would be
Oh, hold on, sport.
spoiled.
Let's not go ahead and undersell this.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
He'd have wings for different cats. I mean, there would be.
Come to the East Wing and visit the cats there.
There would no longer be downstairs and upstairs
Oh,
cats. There
think
would
about
be
this. You
east,
used to have these Victorian mansions that they had the central part and then they had 2 wings of the house. I could go ahead and, build something like that and make the area between the wings one giant outdoor catio.
like an atrium.
Exactly.
Like the big old glass, and you do that. You have the full glass ceiling, and then you have perches every place, so
Everywhere.
catch of sunshine.
Yes.
So much brain damage. So much
No,
fucking brain damage.
and then you can put your writing desk right in the middle, so you can have sunlight and cats, and maybe some speakers for a little bit of music or distracting sound.
If I win the lotto, I'll never tell anyone, but there will be signs.
So much cat hair. Those would be the signs.
What about you, Paul?
I'm in I just finished week 2 of being the chauffeur. Mom had surgery on Wednesday, and it was supposed to be 2 hours, and it took 8 because of all delays in the operating room and everything else. So it's been a rough week. And next week's going to be worse. Next week is the last of the hell week. It's the worst. But I got the beta comments back for Sakulina. Pretty minor stuff. So made those changes this morning at 4 a.m.
How many people got grossed out?
Did they say, "Oh, that's gross. Do more"?
I got told by Brett I probably should have pushed the envelope a little bit more, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. My father said that basically he would never have sex again and never go near the ocean, is what he said after reading that book. I thought that was a rather interesting way to put it. But, so I'm getting that done. I'm probably going to send that to the publisher tomorrow. And then I've been outlining the new book.
What kind of monster are we talking now?
We're talking about a fungus that has been around for a couple 100 million years that they brought up in an ice core. So it takes place in
fungus.
Antarctica.
Ooh.
So I finally get to write. I finally get to write yeah, we may talk about it in After Dark. I finally get to write a story in Antarctica, which I've wanted to do for a very long time. And I'm going to set it in 1982.
Okay, I see one thing coming out of this immediately. Kurt Russell going, nope.
Yep.
That's what I see.
I thought about naming one of the characters Kurt, and I just decided that was going too far. So.
Oh no! Oh, you
No.
should absolutely go that far. Not him. Maybe his boss, somebody that doesn't actually go there. The guy they communicate with on the outside. Name him Kurt, and everything he says is, "Wouldn't do that. Nope. 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 Nope.
Or if
No."
it's like a legacy thing, like the guy who was there before, if he's leaving like a letter of instructions, just sign it, Kurt.
You can do it in a way that works.
Yeah,
I think you should.
At this point, I think you've got more people who won't necessarily get that joke.
You're
than
probably
will.
true. You're probably
Oh
right.
my
And
God,
so by-
that's so sad.
I'm sorry, but then it's a nice gotcha. And if someone's like, "Why are you people? Why are you amused by this?" Then folks can explain it. But
Well, I know I'm going to use one line, which is, well, two lines really. The first is, first goddamn week of winter, somebody's going to say in response to something happening. And the second one is, you got to be fucking kidding me.
The meme that I saw had, apparently they found some new life form 3,500 meters below the surface of the ice. It had the scientists talk about the thing that he found there, and then it had Kurt Russell with the beard and whatnot at the bottom and going, nope.
Nope. Nope.
love it.
So anyway, I'm excited to dig into that. I've almost had problems finishing the outline because I really just want to start writing it. But I'm setting it at a finished station, so almost nobody there speaks English, which will make things even crazier. It'll be fun. It will be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And I even have a name for it. Kill Shelter.
Oh, I like that. I like
Or
that a
in
lot.
Finnish, and I'm going to slaughter this, Tabaswoja.
And the nice thing is that if everybody else there is speaking Finnish and the person going there doesn't realize it, or Americans there, a real butthead is going to be, they're going to mistake it for Russian, and then the whole Cold War thing, and they're going to be absolute shits. Because if you listen to it for a little bit, it does sound really close.
Finnish, not Norwegian. There are more Norway bases in Antarctica and have been for a very, very long time. The Finns only have one, and it was only started in 2000 something. So I'm going to 1982 and saying they had a station then. And no, Chris, I do not know Finnish. Google Translate is my friend for right now, but I need to find somebody who speaks Finnish so they can keep me from making massive faux pas. But I'm not going to include a whole bunch of Finnish words.
No, I wonder.
Finish him fatality. Oh, good God. It was because of the Thing reference. Yeah, I know, but the Thing reference is, hey, Sweden, and they keep trying to explain to McCready that they're Norwegian, not Sweden, and he does that like 4 times. It's pretty funny. I may do something like that. We'll see. So anyway, I'm chomping at the bit to write this book. I have no idea if RTP is going to accept the outline. We'll see what happens when they get it, but I'm going to write it regardless. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So got to get Saculina to them. I'm waiting to hear back from Pondy on a cover for Oceania, so we can push that puppy out. And I think Extinction is going to go to the beta readers in the next week or two.
Hack them down.
So I'm busy. Hack them down.
Somebody's been reading their Eric Flint.
I'm afraid to ask. Very afraid
He said
to
the
ask.
only Finnish he knows is Hakapale. If I'm probably horribly mispronouncing it, but yeah. Hack them down.
May have to use that. Anyway, there were some interesting things that happened this week.
Oh, you're going to have to
writing.
limit what you call interesting. Considering the show, we're being limited to interesting in the book and publishing
Writing.
world, right?
Writing, publishing world.
Okay, that.
We will not go any further than that. That way lies madness. First off, and this didn't happen this week, but I don't think we talked about in this show last week, was the fact that publishers are going to stop doing the blurbs on the back from other authors.
Honestly, I think that's a good thing.
I think it is too. I thought
their opinions on books suck.
Well, somebody said basically it's created this class structure because, primarily the published authors only blurb other published authors, and it's created this mess of incestuous garbage going on. So they're just going to stop doing it, and some people were freaked out over it, and of course all the indies went, thankfully, about time.
The indies went, meh.
Yeah, kind of. But at the same time, it is kind of annoying where somebody gets a leg up with Stephen King or Dean Koontz or whomever else, it's because they have a publisher that knows that person.
I don't really think that the blurb from another author does you jack all, even if it's Stephen King. I just don't think it.
I don't know about that.
For the average reader who's coming in cold, it might.
But if it's for someone, I don't know, if it's in the right genre and if it's the right, big voice in that genre, it could help. But I don't know.
The only reason I got into Clive Barker is because Stephen King vouched for him.
One of the things that I think would make it would make more of an impact if it was like the author on a podcast going, I just read this book and this book is awesome. That's something talking to people. If you're putting something passive on a book cover or in a Kindle setting where you have to actually go to the book to read that blurb, then you've already lured them in. That doesn't really add that much.
I think it's actually a relic of the old days when all they could do was you could walk into the bookstore and that's all you had to go by, right? I think it made more sense then than it does now with ebooks.
I personally think
it's a different experience.
You should just go ahead and just write a blurb that says Kindle user and just write the most outrageous things about your own books. Things that are completely and utterly untrue and wildly implausible.
Or you take your 1-star review and you put it there. It's like, this person said it sucked. Do you agree with them?
And hopefully their missive has nothing but typos in it, which would be even funnier.
I mean.
And in caps. Make sure it's in caps.
With poor pronunciation and
no
commas,
no punctuation, nothing. Just all caps. And 14 exclamation points.
I think I've met that reader. Anyway, I thought that was really interesting that that they finally are going that way, and I'm still a little unsure what caused this switch around. But obviously somebody poked their head up and said, "This is stupid. Why are we doing this?" And plus, apparently, it takes longer to get the books out if you're waiting on a blurb from an author. So it's also a speed to market thing.
Yeah, because if you're trying to get something from a bigger named author who is actually working, they've always have other irons in the fire. They've got other stuff they're writing. Yeah. And now, if they're going to be ethical about it, they've got to take the time
to read your book
and form an opinion.
Yep.
So, yeah.
James
I wonder if it didn't come from that side, the blurbing side, rather than the to be blurbed.
James said, studies have shown that the shade of green on a tin can will make you pay up to 25 cents more for the same food. So blurbs probably do more than you think. Let me throw out the opposite of that. You have gone to all the trouble and gotten your book blurbed by a very high-end author, and it's like the best thing since sliced bread, and then suddenly it's Neil Gaiman. And he comes crashing down, and then your books, I'll have something on there from somebody that people just are like on fire about.
Well, and he had a reputation for blurbing just about everything that came across. So kind of the idea that if you blurb everything, how can you have that positive opinion about so many things?
I like everything.
Yeah.
That's what Julius thinks about it.
Well, I think Julius is holding onto the back of that chair for dear life. Good
He
Lord.
is.
He is locked in.
He says, "I've got it. Eyes on."
Matt says, my first encounter with Paul's work was from Scott Sigler mentioning the Black on a podcast I was listening to, and he was only a guest on there. I love you, Sigler. Thank you. The podcast world is a little bit different. I think if you're dropping names when you're being interviewed and things like that, like, if I drop Ed Lauren, maybe somebody's going to go check out Ed Lauren's work. But I'm not
should. It's disturbing as hell. If you like getting creeped out by Paul's stuff, go read Lauren's stuff. Narrating his stuff gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
Legit gave me nightmares. So if you like creepy stuff, go read his. It's really good.
Yeah, Life After Dane is so fucking good. Anyway.
Good. And I think
the teeth me.
Oh my God, the teeth. That is what gave me nightmares. The teeth is what gave me nightmares. And legit, it is one of those books that I wish I could go back and record again. Because I've improved so much since narrating it the first time. And I know I could creep the shit out of people by narrating it properly.
Such a good book.
It is. Life After Dane by Edward Lauren. So good.
Yeah, if you can find it. So that was interesting to me that has been going on, and we just didn't talk about it. So it's interesting to see the opinions on here too. But regardless of what you think, it's kind of gone. Rick says, I've never been scared by a book.
Now, I remember hearing a story about, I can't even remember which book it was, but some woman had gotten so bent out of shape about a book that she threw it into the ocean. Just chunked it into the ocean. And her son went ahead and fished it out, half dried it off, and then put it in her nightstand. How rude is that shit right there? The Exorcist, yes. The Exorcist, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's some rude shit right there. Oh, boy, there's therapy pills right there.
That's a great book. That's a really great book.
And Rick, I can understand, like, the average reader is probably not going to be scared by a book. But the level, like, how you have to get into that to narrate it and act it, it's a head trip. And that's from someone who does not watch horror or read horror for fun. It's one of those things. I have the voice for it. So, but yeah.
I freaked myself out while writing it. While writing Closet Truths, I freaked myself out. So it can happen. Mm-hmm. It's family level trolling. Yes, it is.
That's just so rude. I wish I'd thought of it. I wish I'd had the opportunity to do it.
To think of it. Yeah. So everything that dropped is the fact that Amazon is no longer going to allow you to download your books.
There aren't your books anyway. Go about your life, proles.
So this is a little disturbing. I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but there was like a new edition of the Roald Dahl books put out with changes to the language and everything else. And so people's old copies of those books got overwritten with the new works. So unless you saved off the original version you got, Amazon just changed it on you, or the publisher changed it on you, and you no longer have the book that you originally read.
My wife bought them in paperback when that happened.
Yeah. So
the originals.
The originals. So that's something that has been possible to happen for forever, but now they've taken it to the next level, which is you're not going to be able to download your books at all to your PC. That disturbs me a lot because because of the way they're doing things, because of all of that, they just have got a serious problem, for me anyway, for consumers actually owning anything that they purchase. But we knew this was happening for streaming. If streaming loses access to a work, it disappears from your catalog.
You have nothing. You own nothing.
You own nothing.
Right. And you are paying the same amount for the privilege to access it rather than to own it.
Right.
And that's a problem too.
And your access can be terminated.
Yes,
yeah,
at any
it's
time.
because in that case, it's not like Kindle Unlimited, where literally you're legit paying a monthly fee for access to a vast library that authors opt into. And, that's, yeah, James got annoyed when The Martian Audible switched from R.C. Bray to Will fucking Wheaton.
Totally different kind of voice. I'll grant you that.
Very, very, very different kind of voice. I don't mind.
Didn't Will Wheaton do Ready Player One?
He did, and I thought he did a marvelous job on it.
I thought it was okay.
That was one of the first audiobooks I listened to.
Of course, it was an excellent book. So, how much was the book? How much was Will? I don't know.
I think oftentimes with that, it's a case of the right voice with the right content and genre makes it. And with the gravitas of The Martian, R.C. Bray is probably going to hit that better than Will Wheaton, just for the tone and the heaviness, the richness of the voice.
Any book that starts off with "I was fucked" is definitely the book you want to read.
I mean,
Xander says, isn't the issue that Amazon is no longer allowing download to a computer? Correct. You can still download to your Kindle for offline reading. Correct.
But
there's no way of offline archiving. That's what the problem is.
That's what they've killed.
Not there, and there are plenty of people who would prefer to read on their computer, or just have the ability to do it. Because not everyone is going to read stuff on their Kindle. That's just.
Rick says, I own movies on Prime that Amazon no longer has the right to, but they're still in my library to watch. That is correct, but that is not what they're doing with Kindle books.
Well, hang on. We're talking two separate things here.
This is true.
What he is saying there is the way that it's still going to be for many things. Even if you purchase a book on Kindle and the person stops selling it for whatever reason, then it's probably still going to be in your Kindle library. It's only when it's removed from something like copyright issues or something else like that where they physically decide to remove it from all devices.
Which they have done before.
1984. Great choice on their part. Great choice.
Fuckers. We've talked about this before, and I almost named this episode "We Own Nothing," but the services have gotten to the point where they really just want you on their service. They don't want you going anywhere else. They don't want you using anything else. And while there are some ways that you can get around some of this using Calibre and etc., if you know what you're doing and if you spend the time to get to know how to do it, and in many cases you're going to be breaking the law because you're removing DRM from those books. So
there you go, James. You gotta lose those spaces, James. You gotta learn those spaces. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Yes, I know that's. I was kind of like going from what I thought I remembered from The Martian, but yeah.
This is really interesting. Chris says that's why authors should publish also to their own website. Strangely enough, that came up in the pre-show. We can't do it justice in 20 minutes or 17 minutes, and I don't have anything prepared. But I do have a PayHip store where I sell audiobooks directly, and even some ebooks that aren't in the Amazon. They're not in KDP, and they're not in Audible's exclusive, so I can do whatever I want there. And so I sell them from PayHip. I don't sell many from PayHip, but I do have folks who every once in a while will come in and buy the entire Derelict Saga because they listened to it commercial free on YouTube and went, hey, you deserve some money for this. So they bought it. And all that money goes directly to me, minus the 5% or 2% or whatever it is that PayHip takes. Mm-hmm. So it's not a bad deal to look into PayHip or something like that. But yeah, you can't have your books in Kindle Unlimited and sell it from your own site at the same time. You have to choose.
But I mean, you could have the individual books in KU and then have an omnibus on your website.
Yes, and that may be what I do with Derelict.
Yeah,
in a way, that's already what I've done with Derelict.
Yeah, and I mean, for those who look at audio, it's a good argument for going wide with your audio, because you can sell your audio from your website and then have it distributed in 20 different places, because there are plenty of folks who are ditching Audible and going to other storefronts. Plus, to get your books in libraries.
Yes,
Which
is
is
going to become a bigger deal.
Yes, because there are more and more, groups out there that are trying to make that happen, because you want the work to be accessible.
That says, not a lawyer, but there's a difference between breaking their terms of service to committing piracy. I don't believe it becomes a crime until you distribute a book you've removed DRM from.
They would argue that
Technically-
removing DRM is in fact an act of piracy.
That's what they will argue. That is what they will argue. While I agree with you, Matt, I own it, and therefore I should be able to do any fucking thing I want with it. Ask Microsoft what they think about that.
Ask Adobe what they think about that.
Ask Adobe what they think about that. You're getting a license. You're not getting the actual thing. And so your license is to read it and do all this other stuff, but you're still not allowed to fuck with the DRM. But I would say that me personally, I would never, ever fuck with DRM or remove it from anything. I would never do something like that. There's a reason why none of my books have it. I don't believe in it.
And there's some publishers, like if you're buying books directly from the publisher, because I know that if you go to Ban and you go and buy any of the Secret World Chronicle books that are there, you can opt for a DRM free version.
Most of their stuff is DRM free.
Yep.
They used to. It's been years since they did it, but they used to include CDs with the hardbacks that had a butt ton of extra books DRM free, with explicit licensing that you could share them far and wide.
Yep.
Microsoft is now licensing digitally instead of hard copy too. Yes.
Yep.
Pretty much everybody has. They talked about the fact that Sony stopped making Blu-rays for recording. They stopped making blank Blu-ray discs for the consumer to use because there wasn't enough demand for it. So that's another format that's gone, essentially. And it's just a matter of time before it dies.
But I need my reader and writer. I haven't used it in years, so there.
Yeah, it's kind of a problem to look at how the market has changed and figure out exactly what the rules are. My hope is that it's going to swing back because enough people are just get sick of this and they start going to other storefronts. That's my hope. But I don't know if that's really going to happen. I hope so, but I don't necessarily see how yet. Matt says with most authors, particularly when they start, the problem isn't piracy, it's obscurity. You are correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, but also if there's also the belief that if someone is obscure enough, then they're not going to notice any piracy.
True.
And a lot of times it's those books that wind up being put on YouTube, or those audiobooks getting put on YouTube. So, yeah.
There, I said it. I can hope. I can dream. Doesn't mean I think any of it's going to come to pass. Does PayHip collect sales tax? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I'd forgotten about that. I had to look it up. So anyway, I think PayHip's a really good storefront that's easy to manage if you're looking into doing some of this. I would recommend it rather than running your own store, because running your own store is expensive, bug laden, and it's just such a pain in the ass. It's better give somebody else a little bit of money to take all the heavy lifting from you. That's just me personally. I don't have time to fuck with that shit. I used to have my own store. It was a pain in the ass. I never got anything out of it for as much as I spent on it. So it makes more sense to go to PayHip. That's simple.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
there are plenty of indie authors who do that. I know Abby Hilton, pretty sure she has a PayHip store, and she gets a ton of sales across her series through that.
Yeah.
But it's not, and the thing is, because I said, hey, I was going to recommend this as a topic, but there's so many pieces. And it's not just having one service. It's how do you deliver this? How do you deliver that? How do you keep your cat from getting, into everything? And we don't have a solution for that. But it's like, there's not enough, clearly half an hour is not enough time to touch on everything from soup to nuts and your own, in a storefront
if y'all
accessed from your site.
If y'all want us to cover that topic, we can. We just need to have more than 5 minutes prepared for it. But seriously, go look at PayHip. Go look at some of the other offerings and see what makes sense to you, or what makes sense for you, kind of deal. And, go from there. I one day will move the black completely out of KU, but I can't do that until it's paid for itself. And I still have 2 more books to publish. So it's probably going to be a year or 2 before I can do that, because everybody's got to make their money back for me. And I can't afford, since more than half my income is coming from KU right now, it's not a faucet I can afford to turn off. So it is the problem. Maybe a channel on the Discord. Yeah, maybe. Oh, guests? We don't do guests.
If we invited guests, we might have to have people like J.R. Handley on or something.
No, we can't do that. Fuck that noise. We can't do that at all.
We've got to have some limits here. Boundaries, people. Boundaries.
Because our cats have none. He's so cute and snuggly when he's not being Satan. Anyway.
Are we still talking about J.R. Handley?
No, I don't think he's ever been cute or snuggly. I don't think that's it. I don't really think that's something he does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that none of the people listening to the audio would have caught on to that.
What do y'all think about the idea of releasing the KU for first 90 days of book and then go wide?
Some people
That's what a lot of the audio production houses do with Audible.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good strategy, but you have to be on top of things.
Yeah.
That's the key. A lot of the really good lucrative strategies require you to have a schedule, be aware, track things. It's not just a post and go.
Rick says the problem is that direct sales only work for certain genres.
Maybe I'd amend that. Yeah, I would say direct sales work better for certain genres. I mean, and a lot of it has to do with marketing. It's letting people know where you are and how to get it. And the third thing on that is, how savvy are your readers?
Yes.
Because it's having them go through extra steps to find your stuff and buy it. Which, trying to train your readers to do something new is really hard. Really hard.
Trying to teach them how to sideload an audiobook when they're used to just having Audible do it. Oh my fucking God, I have never wanted to smash my head into a wall harder. It just is so, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. The readers for military sci-fi, for example, are heavily into KU. Oh, I believe it.
Rick, I totally know. That's my husband. He's currently burning through Cheney and Maggart's latest release. And he exclusively reads on his phone. The only Kindle in the house, I think, is mine, and I don't even use mine that much because I'm either listening or I'm one of those weirdos who will read on my computer. Because if I'm not holding that, then I can play with the crochet. But no, I agree. For military sci-fi, KU, depending upon romance, I think you get direct sales with that just as much as you do KU. Because these are your whale readers. These are folks who are just going to take, and read and constantly flip through. Yep. And they're going through 8, 9, 10 books a month. So
my father finally joined up with Kindle Unlimited because he was spending so much fucking money on books per month because he reads like 20. He just couldn't afford it anymore. So it made more sense for him to go Kindle Unlimited. And now he can read a whole bunch of stuff, just not as many authors, or not the authors that he, wanted to read, but he's found a whole bunch of new ones. And the Westerns he's found are crazy, crazy, that he would never been able to afford doing it any other way. So he's, I think he's more or less the poster child for what a KU reader is. The people who just burn through stuff.
Yeah, my mother-in-law is like that too. She reads a lot of like the historical romances, and she's not following any authors per se. She's literally just using KU because it's a monthly subscription, and that's it, because she sits and reads.
JR says their audiobook companies are trying to compete with the token model that Audible uses. Right now they're genre and niche specific, but it is coming, I think.
Oh.
I hope so. I do hope so.
Which ones, JR?
I remember hearing about it. I just haven't, it's gone right out of my head who this is. You are going to fall off my chair, and you're going to take the drapes with you, you little shit. Come here.
He says, no, not us cat out fall. No, not going to do it. No.
Sorry about that. Audiobook Guild in the harem lit space.
There we go. Harem lit. There, we were talking about what it was called.
Okay.
There's another
Sorry,
good
this
one.
This
Harem
is also
lit.
me going, who do I get to reach out to say, hey, hire me for stuff? So now I've got to go write that down and do more research.
Now I'll have to search and see what books pop up when I search for harem lit.
American Dragons, seriously, the you got 7 books till you get to the one I narrated, and it's very well put together. It's got a very good gaze in terms of just don't hurt the fluffy fuzzy.
Rick says
Fluffy
sci-fi
Fuzzy
writers.
says, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sci-fi writers with huge readerships have tried direct sales and it hasn't really worked for them. I know it wouldn't work for me. And I think this goes back to the whole visibility and the fact they're burning through things. I mean, reader habits have really changed. Streaming habits have really changed us. We're now like, we want the all-you-can-eat buffet at all times.
Yeah.
And what do you mean? Only proletariats pay $3.99 for an audiobook or for a trade paper, ebook.
Yeah, and JR, I have heard of Royal Guard Press. I've actually reached out to them. Their audition process is really fun.
Stop it.
He's gonna get you.
I may have to kill it. have to kill it.
No, you're gonna feed the kitty and love on the kitty, and maybe shut the door so that he's not making holes.
He'll just open it
shirt.
Again.
Does he have thumbs? There are
No,
locks
they just
for
bash into this door and it opens. That's the way it works. There's no lock on it.
Rubber band the door. Oh, you didn't grow up with toddlers. Rubber band the door.
I've considered it. I really have considered it.
It does work. A lot of the techniques one would use to baby-proof a house do work on cats. Is he chewing?
God damn it, cat.
Those who are listening and not watching, Paul's cat Rogue has now decided that Paul is a tasty treat and needs to be consumed with sharp,
It's gonna bite you, Dad.
teeth.
It's gonna get you. No.
You should see what happens when I get out of the shower, or God help us if I'm cleaning firearms. There's something about gun oil. Cats go crazy for it. I don't know what it is.
Okay,
Get off me.
right there, that is a hook for a post-apocalyptic something. Like using the scent of gun oil to train the attack cats. Throwing that idea out there for you.
We didn't even get to binge writing.
I'm sure that folks can binge later.
Yeah, we can binge later. Kitties go
Thank you
crazy
for
for
the
gun oil.
link, JR.
Yes, they do. Well, we should probably bring this to a close. If you have a comment or question about this episode, you can go to deadrobotsociety.com, punch that contact button, and send us an email. You can find us at deadrobotsociety.com, obviously. You can also find us at YouTube at youtube.com/DRS Podcast, where we are live every Saturday at 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe so you know we're live. You can also leave a comment there on the episodes. And if you want to support the show, You can find us at patreon.com/DRSpodcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRSpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive live shows like the one that's going to come at you in about 10 minutes. And at the $10 level, we get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Juan Valentin, James Terrell, Antoine Batts, Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Isabel Cushy, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. And with that, we should probably get out of here. We'll talk about binge writing some other time. Now we have to go. We have to
Gotta
go.
go,
After
gotta
dark.
go, gotta go.
We got to go to DRS After Dark so I can talk about Sakulina and Kill Shelter.
Sakulina.
Because who doesn't love body parts falling to the floor?
Your
Especially
dad.
when they're my dad.
That was not the, I mean, accurate response, but usually it's like your mom, and that was just, nope.
Well,
Well, you
Brett
know,
said
with the way they talk about, certain things about older men, hitting the floor while still attached is not necessarily out of the question.
do your balls hang low? Do they wobble to and fro? On that note, we are getting the hell out of here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making it fun. Hope you had a good time, and we will talk to you next week.
Boy, boy.
Behave yourselves.
Bye.
Not too much, though. Go right.
No.